What made Laxmanasarma give the book such a title? Towards the end of chapter 9 of the book, a beautiful chapter called The Quest, Laxmanasarma reveals why he called it Mahayoga. He said, Bhagavan once said that the question, who am I, is the quest that one has to undertake. Since all the yogas are included in the question, who am I, it is called Mahayoga, or the Great Yoga. As usual, Bhagavan did not buy the published version of the book. He said, who has the money to buy it? As was his wont, he bound the final proofs of the manuscript and preserved it, since he himself had spent many hours correcting the proofs. Around this time, while going through the ancient Kurma Purana, Bhagavan found a Sanskrit verse which he transcribed at the bottom of the 9th chapter. The Sanskrit verse read, the yoga in which one sees the self, and which Lord Shiva declares is me, self, the one immaculate eternal bliss, is considered to be Mahayoga, pertaining to the Supreme Lord. Laxmanasarma and Marunganar were both great friends and ardent devotees of Bhagavan. These giants came to Bhagavan without any knowledge of Vedanta or Advaita, so they could imbibe whatever Bhagavan told them. Marunganar had already written the Guru Vachaka Kovai, the garland of the Guru's sayings, in the form of Tamil poetry. Marunganar and Laxmanasarma selected 300 verses, and the latter translated them into English prose. He named the work Guru Ramana Vachana Mala. Laxmanasarma also wrote the Sri Ramana Hridayam in Sanskrit. He translated this into English and published it under the title Revelation. All these English books are of great value to those who know only English, as it gives them direct access to Bhagavan's teachings. When someone asks why he wrote all his books under the pseudonym of Who, he replied, these books contain all that I have learned from my master Bhagavan and my friend Marunganar. So who wrote them? Laxmanasarma believed in naturopathy and went back to his village in order to treat people. His book Nature Cure, dedicated to Bhagavan, is considered the most authoritative book on the subject. He also wrote a Sanskrit book on nature cure called Svadhina Svasthya Mahavidya. He is considered to be the father of naturopathy in India. Yet his mind was always tuned to the teachings of Bhagavan. Even after Bhagavan gave up his body in 1950, he continued composing Sanskrit verses on the teachings of Bhagavan and gave his collection of 700 verses the title Sri Ramana Para Vidya Anasad. The ashram brought out the book in English. This Upanishad of supreme knowledge is a boon to Ramana devotees. The following verses from the Sri Ramana Upanishad, composed by Laxmanasarma, embody the teachings of Bhagavan beautifully. In verse 479, it states, just as waves are only the ocean, and the dream world is only the seer of the dream and nothing else, so the whole world is only myself and nothing more. This perception is the merging of the world in the self. And in verses 504, 505, and 506, it states, "Since the ancient declaration, 'You are that,' settles one in one's real self, disentangled from the veiling sheaths, one is ever the supreme reality, the impersonal being alone. Only through the quest of the self, one experiences the identity of oneself and the supreme reality. When through self-inquiry, one gives up the notion, 'I am the body,' and seeks the self, one becomes fully aware of one's true nature, and thus is firmly established in the heart, where the Supreme Being shines as one's true self. The quest of the self alone is the direct path to right awareness of the self. Meditation is only a preliminary aid to this quest by way of making one transcend the hurdle that one is the body.